Welcome to Red Recaps. Today we'll be doing a recap of a movie called The Ice Road. Watch out, sit back, and enjoy. Let's get started. Deep underground drilling is done by miners at the Katka Diamond Mine in northern Manitoba. The methane sensors are not working as discovered by René Lampard. A truck is traveling on the ice road when it is thrown off balance by an explosion and goes off the cliff. The miners have reached the methane pocket, René informs them. The miners rush through the surface escape at 4:05. General Manager Sickle rushes out of his office as men are heard crying and being trapped underneath. Mike McCann travels to North Dakota in his truck to pick up his brother from work. Gertie, an Iraq War veteran with PTSD and dysphagia, is being teased as he enters. Gertie's brain has been damaged in some areas, making it impossible for him to form words. Mike retaliates and responded when Johansson asked how it feels to be best friends with a retard. After he knocks him out, Gertie and Mike both lose their jobs. Gertie is instructed to collect his possessions and grab Skitter, his pet rat, as they go. Mike takes Gertie to the VA medical center. He is greeted by Dr. Talbot. If he is eligible for rehabilitation, they will make housing arrangements for him. Deputy Minister O'Toole tells Tagger, VP of Operations, and Sickle to make sure that nobody enters any of the tunnels at Katka. The experienced big rig driver, Jim Goldenrod, is approached by Tully, the mine safety supervisor. He informs him at Katka Mine, Tunnel 6 caved in. They need 300 feet of piping and an 18-foot gas wellhead, delivered there in less than 30 hours. Goldenrod promises to assist Tully if he has permit. Mike is furious to see Gertie being extensively medicated without his consent. When he returns to the medical center, he informs Dr. Talbot that the media is eager for further information on how the VA overprescribes opiates to America's heroes. A call for Ice Road drivers is received by Mike at the gas station. They learn of the twin explosions at the Katka Mine that led to casualties. Tantu gets freed from jail by Goldenrod. One of those missing is her brother, Cody, who works in the mine. She consents to operating a rig to move the wellheads to Winnipeg on the ice road. Mike clarifies that he looks after his sibling. Gertie is taken to the workshop by Goldenrod after being asked to bring his toolbox. Goldenrod hired them after being greatly impressed. As she joins them, Tantu arrives, parks the rig, and hands him the keys. The miners hear a Morse code. Before they bomb, Sickle orders Fred to inform them that they will be capping the gas with wellheads as soon as possible. At the mine office, Tagger and Sickle talk about the challenges of getting the wellheads to Katka. He tells the drivers at Goldenrod's that the $300,000 payment will be divided into 4. If one of them doesn't make it, the others will share that person's share. They will be traveling with Tom Varney. He will travel in the black rig with Tantu. While Gertie does a last-minute check, Mike places Skitter in front. The old Minnetonka Bridge will lead them to Katka, which is outside the miners' oxygen window. They continue traveling down the ice road. The miners in Katka keep a low profile to conserve oxygen. Mankins calculate that they still have 26 hours. Goldenrod worries that the early sun will melt the ice as they travel through the night. Mike thinks that they might acquire a vehicle similar to the Red Kenworth rig because it is a nice ride. The engine stalls and Goldenrod stops. Tantu and Mike turn around and tuck him behind them. While Gertie performs diagnostics, they fasten the nylon pulleys at the back of the rigs to allow them to swing. The ice under the trailer breaks as they work to fix the rig. Goldenrod's leg is imprisoned. He is being pulled along by the equipment as it breaks through the ice. He gets Tantu to cut the strap holding him to the boat, and as a result, he drowns. They bind the rigs together. Gertie and Varney are poised to spring off the running boards if the ice breaches. The pressure wave is stopped by the truck's fishtailing and rolling over as the weight is distributed evenly. Cody deciphers a new message at Katka that claims the operation to deliver the wellheads was unsuccessful. Varney advises them to return to the ice road as Mike indicates the approaching storm. They accuse Tantu of interfering with his equipment in retaliation for him previously terminating her. Gertie disarms her and binds her up after she draws a gun on the group. Mankins approaches Cody and Renee in the Katka tunnel, telling them they must reduce their numbers before they run out of oxygen. Cody informs the miners and requests a vote on who will survive. Mankins tells them that some of them won't make it, before locking Varney and Gertie in the back of the rig. 10-2 approaches Varney as they enter the rig. She is knocked out by him. Before driving out, Varney straps dynamite to Mike's truck and lights the fuse. Mike and Gertie smash their way through the heating system using a steel pipe as a ramrod. When they eventually succeed, Mike notices the fuse burning. Just before the dynamite bursts, he climbs out and throws it. 10-2 and Varney continue traveling along the ice path when Varney hears the blast. The ice splits and the Kenworth front wheels stop spinning as Mike and Gertie embrace. Mike instructs him to apply more pressure as he pulls the trailer out of the ice. Gertie attempts to alert Mike that the winch may malfunction, but he still turns it on. Gertie and the trailer tumble into the chilly water as a result of the winch breaking as Mike pulls the vehicle out of the ice. Mike hops in the truck to find him after he has tied himself to it. He extricates a silent Gertie from the sea. He apologizes to his brother and tells Gertie that they have to save 10-2 because Varney had all this planned out from the beginning. Varney steers the rig in Katka's direction. 10-2 stops and looks on as Sickle joins him after regaining consciousness. He is informed by Varney that 10-2 is still alive, but that Mike and Gertie perished in the blast. He is instructed to drive the cab into the guardrail while claiming that he leaped to safety just in time. In 3 hours, he claims the miners' oxygen supply will run out. Varney needs to give the impression that their historic rescue operation ended tragically. Assuring them there were no gas pockets this far north, management ordered them to cut the sensors, according to Cody. Each miner received $100 per month in exchange for keeping quiet. All of that is irrelevant, Mankins informs Renee, because their oxygen levels are rapidly decreasing. Gertie and Mike walk toward the mine. Varney maneuvers the truck up the road. 10-2 is then placed in the driver's seat. He grabs Gertie's bag, which he had taken before lighting the dynamite, when he hears squeaking. When Skitter bites him, 10-2 can tackle him and fling him out of the truck, thanks to the momentary confusion. She makes a mayday call for assistance as the Katka contractors pursue her. They are approaching the pass. Mike replies. She mentions where she is as Varney listens. Varney could see that her fuel tank was almost empty. Mike is ordered to stop by the contractors, who flank the rig and climb onto the running boards while brandishing weapons. They attack Mike after breaking the cab's windows. Along with 2 of the assailants, Gertie exits the taxi. By striking the last man with an ice pick, Mike eventually prevails. Gertie gets repeatedly struck in the head with one of the helmets while putting up a valiant struggle. He can put his assailant in a chokehold and murder him as a result. Mike approaches and exits the cab, telling him to "Don't just stand there, let's leave." Varney follows 10-2 as she runs out of fuel. She shoots at him, but she misses. As she loses heart, Mike and Gertie drive up in their vehicle and ram Varney's car off the cliff. She reassures her that Gertie can repair her fuel equalizer, and they siphon enough fuel from the remaining wellhead for her to travel to Katka. Varney makes it out alive and rushes toward the snowmobiles, which ride off to the top of the hill. As they wait for Gertie to fix the rig, Mike quips that Gertie is like the commercial character who takes a licking but keeps on ticking. Varney buries dynamite in the snow to start an avalanche. 10-2 passes Skitter to Gertie and says, "He saved my life, give him a treat," while Mike fills the rig with petrol. They decide to escape the avalanche after hearing the explosion. 10-2 has been injured by a branch and struck by snow. In reverse, Mike and Gertie approach 10-2's rig. He tells her that they will have to travel to Katka after towing her trailer off the cliff and hooking it up. There are 45 minutes left before the oxygen runs out. Success is achieved and Katka is reached by the wellhead. Tully tells Sickles at the mine offices that Renee's computers are needed by mine safety and that the CEO would arrive in an hour. Sickles continues to defend their behavior while informing Tagger that there is nothing in the emails that would implicate them. The miners are struggling to breathe as their oxygen supply diminishes. Gertie alerts Mike about 10-2's rig, with Varney operating it as they get closer to the mine. Varney tries to catch up with them. They move along the blocked Minnetonka ice road. He continuously runs into Mike. Gertie is told to take the wheel by Mike, who directs him to keep going until they reach the mine. Mike climbs aboard Varney's truck, and as they struggle, both men tumble out of the cab. Gertie pauses as he approaches the bridge on the way to Katka. Tantu claims she can transport them safely. She carefully maneuvers the rig onto the outdated bridge, which was not built to handle the weight of the rig. Mike and Varney are still arguing back on the ice road. Hence, the wheels of Gertie skid on the ice. Hence, traction pads are used. Mike pushes him out of the truck's door as they rush toward it. Varney returns to the cab as Mike departs, and the two struggle until Mike knocks him out. Before the rig crashes through the unstable ice, killing Varney, Mike speeds off and leaps off. Tantu just makes it across the bridge once more before all the cables give way. When Mike hears the noise, he rushes in their direction. The rig begins to roll back as they peer over the edge. Gertie struggles to close the gates as Tantu rushes to the taxi. He is devastated. Tantu succeeds in advancing the rig just as Mike shows up. Tantu informs him that Gertie saved the rig as he embraces the dying Gertie in his arms. "Brother mine," says Mike, before Gertie passes away. Mike calls him brother mine and apologizes. Sickle and Tagger are met at the mine by Deputy Minister O'Toole and CEO Thomason. He does not think that the miners will survive. When Fred Ford notices the rig and wellhead approaching, he activates the emergency alert. Sickle is stunned, believing they have all been slain. As the medics rush to save Tantu, Mike tells them not to rush to fetch the dead Gertie. The wellhead is put in place, and Tunnel 6 is given over to the blasting team. The miners are hauled to the surface as the mining bosses look on. Tantu recognizes Cody and runs to welcome him, telling him that Mike helped bring the wellhead. Renee converses with the CEO. Thomason approaches Tagger and Sickle, shocked that they had paid the miners to work without the methane sensors. Before the two men are taken into custody, Mike advances and strikes Sickle with one of his hallmark blows. O'Toole approaches him to thank him and expresses his sorrow as the injured guys are being transported to the hospital facility. A member of the medical staff hands him the Kenworth rig brochure that Gertie had with him. When Mike visits Tantu 3 months later, she is employed as a mechanic in Goldenrod's shop. In memory of Goldenrod, he purchased a new gold truck. He delivers sporting products while driving as a freelancer. In recognition of the name Gertie selected, his license plate says TRK, TRK, TRK. As he leaves, he is seen tending to Skeeter. Have you enjoyed this video? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about the movie. If you are intrigued by the movie, you can check it out by clicking on the links below. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of our videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next video.